My new book, Pillars for Life, A Guide to Spiritual Ethics and Practice, is now out and available for you to read and purchase. You can check out our website, willowhealing.org, to find a link, or you can find it on Amazon. We look forward to getting your feedback, and if you love it, please leave a review and share with your friends. Now it's time for the show. Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul. Hey everyone, it's Catherine Cristani with another episode of Willow Healing Matters, and today I am here with the lovely Carey Mencarini, and she has defied a devastating ALS and Lyme disease diagnosis that left her wheelchair bound, completely transforming her health through alternative medicines. And here she is today, definitely not in a wheelchair, as you can see. I love having video now, it's very good. And as founder of the IV Lounge and Vitality Solution Program and retreats, she now guides others in reclaiming their well-being using natural healing methods. Her remarkable recovery story in the Vitality Solution demonstrates how to unlock the body's innate healing potential through mindset and holistic approaches. So welcome to the show, Carey.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here and happy to share.
I am just enamored by how far you've come in your health journey to be wheelchair bound, and then this vibrant, amazing person that I've just been chatting to before we hit record. Did you want to share a little bit about, as much as you want really, but I guess that turning point when you realized that, there was another way for your health?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I received the diagnosis of ALS, basically was a kind of a garbage can diagnosis because they didn't know why my muscles were shutting down at the time. But being very driven, and I just knew there had to be another way. I wasn't ready I had two young boys at the time, and I was not ready to give up on life. And so I started looking for ways to support my body at a very basic level with nutrition and hydration, because I knew those were the things that I was lacking. And this journey took me to other alternative healing methods and whatnot. So it just kind of became this thing that built on itself, and I was able to then find a doctor that would listen to me, not say I was crazy or a depressed middle-aged woman. And that's kind of how I got to this point. To make it short and brief, but
well,
it is long and complicated, but
yeah, and I guess it's that tenacity that you probably already had, right? Like you said, you were very driven and that sort of thing. And if you're anything like me, it's like someone tells you can't do something. For me, that's kind of a bad thing. It's a trigger. I'm like, I'll prove you wrong.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's like sometimes it can be your Achilles heel too, right? But in this case, it led to this amazing unpacking of your health and just, I'm assuming questioning everything you've been taught about health and how you've been taught to live and how vitality was showing up in your life.
Exactly. Yeah. It's no medical or Western medicine is very narrow-minded. The doctors, by no fault of their own, are taught a very specific system and don't look outside of that system to really what the body can do and how amazing our bodies are, that when we give them the right natural tools, it can unlock an immense amount of healing at a level you can't even comprehend, honestly. So Western medicine is great for acute things, putting you back together. I saw some of the best doctors in some of the best institutions around the United States and even outside of the United States. But it was when I embarked on alternative healing that really my health started to turn around. And then I was able to get the treatment that I needed. So.
Yeah, I had a similar experience where I kept getting cramping, not to the extreme that my muscles stopped working, but I kept getting extreme cramps and to the point my foot actually spasmed. remember going to the doctor. I shared this recently, but I went to the doctor and the doctor put me on anti-arthritic medication in my early 20s. And it was like a
What?
sample drug, but I actually didn't take it. My gut said, that's not right. That is not what's
Right.
going on. And then he sent me for an x-ray and I was like, hang on a minute. Um,
For
I
what?
have a muscle spasm. Why wouldn't you send me for an ultrasound? And I still remember asking the radio because at that point I wasn't questioning the narrative enough of what was kind of being shared. And it's not,
Sure.
and I'm not putting doctors down. This is just how they've been taught because, and I agree with you. Like if I broke my arm, I would go to the hospital and get it set. But then at the same time, I would come home and use my Rife frequency machine to actually undo all the radiation, everything they probably would have given me to help
Right.
set that so I could heal quicker. So there's lots of things that come from balancing that and questioning the narrative. And it turned out all I had was a magnesium deficiency. All I had, but and it was a family thing too. And that's the thing, like it was normal in my family. And I said,
Wow.
actually, Mom, you need magnesium. And my sister had it too. And I was like, you need magnesium, and not this store-bought one. You actually need because I went and found a naturopath at that point. But
Yeah.
it's the point of that is, and I think both of our journeys, yours is more extreme, obviously, but like both of our journeys, it's that curiosity and the questioning that leads you to the next thing. Because if we blindly give our power to someone else, even medical authorities and things like that, then we're saying that we haven't got the ability to heal, and
Right.
B, giving away our power. And a lot of people don't realize how important it is to claim back your power when it comes to your health.
Absolutely. I mean, when I was sick, I saw so many different, I was in hospital rooms with, other people and whatnot. And you could see the difference in somebody who thought they could heal and somebody who just gave in to the diagnosis, just gave in to what they were being told. And, our body listens to what we say. It listens to what we think. It pays attention to how we're acting. Um, it's it's crazy. I mean, I've learned so much since even just in this past year in writing the book and how powerful mindset really is. I had a strong mindset. That's what saved me, and my faith. And that was part of my journey. But yeah, I always ask people, "Do you think you can heal?" Before because I get asked for advice all the time, and I'm like, "Well, do you think you can heal?" And if they say no, then I know that no matter what I tell you, no matter, who I refer you to or, what IV formula you get, it's only going to work so far. It's only going to work so much. So if you
Yeah.
don't believe it,
Yeah, and even if you don't believe it, are you willing to change that belief? I think
right,
that's the other thing, and
right,
because I've worked with clients as well, like for a brief period, I was doing medical intuitive work, and I had this one client, and she had all this pain and everything, and I'm like, you need to forgive your pain, and she's like, what? It's like you
what?
need to find the good in it and you need to forgive it. And she found it so hard because she'd been living in this pain story for so long. And I was like, you're never going to let the pain go. And then she would keep coming back to me. And I'm like, okay, well, we've done this, one, this. And she would feel better temporarily. But again, it's that underlying belief that I'm meant to be in pain. And like you said, the mindset's there too. So if you're not ready to let it go and work on your mindset and work on, even just finding the opposite of that feeling, like I believe I'm meant to be in pain, what's the opposite, and create that, neutrality, then like exactly like you said, you can give them all the magic IV formulas you want and nothing's going to change that.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. I mean, why do certain people who go through the same cancer treatment, why do some heal and some don't? I
Mm.
mean, I always look at what their mindset was, or and what they thought going into that. It's just it still boggles my mind, even when I think about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just so powerful. How do we harness it? How do we like share that? Like, hey, you really can heal yourself. You really can, if you believe it.
Exactly.
That's the first step. But as you say, are you willing to change it if you don't? So
Exactly. Exactly. So if
yeah,
you, yeah, exactly. And I guess that's the hope for the people. Like if you're not, you know,
yeah,
and And I guess the biggest thing is our DNA is designed to self heal. It wants to go back to homeostasis. It wants to
Yes.
go back to a state of balance. And it's just because of all the things that we experience in life, and that's part of being human, that causes that imbalance to start with.
Yeah, very true. And, all the toxins that we're kind of bombarded with these days, and how there's so much EMF that we're exposed to, which changes our cellular communication. There's a lot of need for detoxification on a regular basis, just so we could think clearly. Um, but yeah, when you think you can heal, and then that is the start of the journey. Just believing that, no, I'm not meant to have this diagnosis. No, and I never believed I was meant to die. I was like, I'm not meant to die. There are other things I need to do. This is just part of the journey, and I have to find a way to get out of it and get to the other side. So, I think it's just hoping that people can feel empowered by, you know, having hope that you don't have to, you don't have to embrace your pain, but you have to believe that you can get beyond it.
Mm.
So yeah, it's crazy.
Exactly. It is crazy, but it's also magical at the same time. Like
Yes.
here you are talking to me right now on the other side of it. But I'm sure when you started, it was like, oh my gosh, this hill's massive. But at the same time, you knew like there was a different path for you. You knew you wanted to watch your boys grow up and grow old and possibly become a grandmother, whatever it might be. You
Right.
knew that
Yeah.
that's what you wanted to happen, and it's funny, I had a client and he's passed now, but he had a inoperable brain tumor. And I said, and I was working with the family and I said, I said, it doesn't have to be this way. I can see a different outcome for you, because the doctors just kept sending him off to die. It was really sad,
Yeah.
actually. And he's at 40s. And anyway, and we're like, what? And then they're like, okay, like let's set a goal. And then, so he wanted to get to his son's birthday. I said, you need a bigger goal. And I just kept saying, you need a bigger goal. And sure enough, he hadn't set a bigger goal. And then when he got to his son's birthday, everything started to deteriorate again because he'd made it there and then
Wow.
hadn't got the next thing. And so it was really interesting. Exactly. It comes back to that mindset of what's the next thing I can do? What's the next thing I can do? And but the beautiful thing that came from that is his wife gave this eulogy, and it still makes me cry thinking of it because I was there. And she's like, what did cancer teach us? What did we learn from this
Oh,
journey? I learned about love and I learned about gratitude. And it was the most beautiful eulogy I've heard in my life. And it was
wow.
just that full circle for her about, yes, we went through all this crap, but at the same time, this is what came from that, and like unconditional love and things like that. So it was really beautiful to have that contrast. But again, coming
Wow.
back to that mindset thing, right? Like it's like
Right.
here's the goal. I've met the goal. I don't have a bigger goal, so I'm not going to keep going. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's setting the right intention, right?
exactly.
It's all
Exactly.
about, what is your intention? My intention was to live. That was my
Easy.
biggest,
Easy.
that was the thing. I wanted to be, not just exist and breathe every day and watch people take care of me. I wanted to be outside of the body that I was currently in and on the other side where I am today. And that was my intention. If I had set the intention, and initially I did, when the doctor told us, told my husband, find a nursing home for her, and make your end of life plans and all yada yada. Initially you do cross off the boxes, and you want to be smart about it, but at the same time I said, okay, we did this. Now let's get to work. Now let's get beyond this. And so that was always the intention. It was, I know there's a root cause to all that's going on, and we need to and living with vitality like I am today was my goal. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
what a beautiful goal and mindset and quest to be on. So, from this, I'm assuming at some point you might have come across IVs because that's
Yes,
why we often have these practices, right?
right, right. Yeah, well, I just kind of looked at I'm kind of a cell geek. Like, I was going to school to be a nurse, and eventually I wanted to get into molecular immunology. I can't even say the word. And so I've always been fascinated by cells, and I'm like, okay, what do cells need to thrive? They need nutrition, they need hydration, bottom line. Um, and I knew about vitamin IV therapy. And I had done some in the past. I'm like, okay, I'm not absorbing any nutrients. I need to go. That's what I need to do to keep myself alive, to get to, that was the first step. And so that's how I came across that. And when I was able to kind of then get to a healthier state, I made a promise to myself that I needed to bring this to our local area, that people deserve the right to walk in off the street and get vitamins and hydration. I couldn't. I had to go through a doctor. I had to pay a lot of money. And it wasn't simple. I had to rely on transportation. So I knew there had to be a way to make that easier. And that's kind of how this whole journey has gone. It saved my life, and I'm like, it could save somebody else's. So
Yeah, and I love that you're doing that because I'm aware of how the healthcare system works in America, and it is very ticker tape, I want to say. Like
oh,
you have to go through so many like barriers to actually get to the treatment that you want.
yes,
And here it's kind of similar, but not nowhere near as bad. But at the same time, if you're going alternative routes, it does cost a lot of money, and it is a big investment because it's not covered by anything. Because you're
right,
choosing a different pathway to health than what you're meant to
right.
be, what you're meant
Yeah,
to
you're
be
you're
on.
choosing something that's actually going to work is the problem, and it's not going to make anybody rich. And
Exactly.
certainly hasn't made me rich, but it's
No, but
just it's
yeah,
crazy. It's
yeah,
crazy. We have it so back assward. Well, I don't know if I could say that, but
yeah.
it's
You say whatever
backwards.
you want. You say whatever
Okay,
you want. It's
very
okay.
backwards.
I put the censor thing on YouTube. We'll be fine. Um,
Oh, that's
but
good.
you're right. It is backwards because, and I guess we're being so taught to mask everything, even, you have a headache, take a tablet to make it go away. I get a headache and I'm like, all right, what's going on with my body? This is actually how I work. I'm like, check in. All right,
Yeah,
have I had enough water? Yep. Okay, great. Am I low on salt? I'll go have some Celtic salt, throw it in my mouth. Oh, great. The headache's gone. 90% of the time it works. At the
yeah.
moment, like I woke up with one yesterday and I'm like, what is this? And I was in a cranky mood and I'm like, oh, it's the full moon, number one.
Oh,
Number
right.
two, it's
Oh,
menstrual time. And then so I was like,
double whammy.
yes. So I
Welcome
knew
to womanhood.
exactly, but this is about knowing your body, right? Knowing what works for
Yes,
you and what doesn't. And I love that you've got this IV therapy and what you said about then it's a way that your body can absorb it because a lot of people don't realize that often sometimes if our gut is really impaired, you can have the best food, you can be having all the supplements, but your gut actually won't absorb it because it's got a resistance because the gut needs healing as well. And
right.
this IV therapy bypasses that, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful because you're getting 100% of that vitamin. You're not getting any fillers. You're not getting, it doesn't take hours to break down. It immediately is absorbed into the blood system, bloodstream, and up, it's utilized. So your body's like, thank you very much. I really needed that building block. Let me go do what I should be doing in the first place. And the sad thing is with our way of life here in America, our diet is not good. A lot of people live on fast food, and so I would venture to say that 95% of Americans have an impaired gut and inability to absorb even the most expensive vitamins they're taking.
Mm.
I mean, if you can break it down, great, but are you actually absorbing the vitamins and without fillers and all that good stuff? But yeah, it is IV vitamin therapy is so efficient and so effective. Um, I don't know
Yeah.
why you wouldn't do it, honestly.
Well,
But I can see that now, knowing, of course.
it yeah, and it's interesting because the first time I'd heard about IV therapy was years and years ago from my naturopath, and he was in South America, and he had some IV therapy, and they put thieves, which is like this blend of clove and yeah, like these
Oh,
oils. And they put it,
wow.
infused it into the IV. And he said, I felt so clean, like as in like his system cleared out, like, and he had
Uh,
this charge, and he's like, it was like the most amazing experience. Like it just felt like my system had been almost disinfected, like
yeah.
without a better word. But and then he was just charged and had all these things to do. And I know personally from my journey before magnesium, when I started having magnesium, I could all of a sudden lose the weight I couldn't lose. I could, got less chocolate cravings because I wanted the chocolate because I wanted the magnesium in it,
Right.
and this is where when you start to get curious and you realize, well, actually my body needs this, and I wasn't on it forever, but because I was in such a
Yeah.
stressful job, it was depleting my magnesium really quickly, and I guess that's why there's this beauty of IV therapy, because it's like I'm not saying you shouldn't go looking for the underlying cause that's causing your deficiencies, but
Right.
it at least gets you to the point that you can come from a place of surviving to start to thrive. And then you can do the work to start to reverse your dependency on needing the extra input all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, we just, sometimes our bodies just need a little assistance.
Yeah.
And so that we can get to that next place, so that we can support our bodies, with a better diet or a better, less stressful life, things that are robbing us of nutrients or robbing us of our hydration. A lot of people are deficient in B12, magnesium. Magnesium is super popular with people.
Vitamin D. Vitamin D is another one
Yes.
too. And
Yeah.
this light I have makes me look really pale. I'm not normally this pale, but like,
Okay,
but
I'm looking really red right now, so
it's all right. We can contrast. And
right.
the but it's funny you were saying before about food, because even if you do eat good food, unfortunately, like our soil is not as good as it used to be as well. There's not as
So
much
depleted.
nutrients, it's depleted. And we have beautiful movements like permaculture and organic farming and things like that, restoring the soil, and I work with some really amazing people who do this as well. And, but at the same time, you need to find ways to bring the nutrients back up as well, and even that if you go to the grocery store, by the time you get that fresh food, the fruit and veggies, I can guarantee you they've already been plucked or pulled for like at least 3 to 4 weeks,
Yeah,
and that by that
seriously.
point there's not as much nutrition in them. The most nutrition you can get as soon as you pull it from your garden,
Right.
and yeah, and and
Definitely.
it's funny you mentioned America too, because when I went to Europe, and so many people I know, you'll go to Europe and you'll eat all the pasta and the pizza,
Oh,
right?
yes.
But you do not feel bloated and you do not feel sick. And the reason is that their flour is grown differently. It's grown free of pesticides normally because they have laws and bans. Whereas here in Australia and here, like in America, it's the same. That you don't know what's in their crops, and sometimes changing to the organic version of things can be powerful enough to help your gut, because a lot of people who think they have celiac, they're not actually gluten intolerant, they're actually pesticide intolerant.
Yeah. It's true, right?
Yes,
I
and this
mean,
is what the research is showing. The more and more they do this research, they're actually showing it's not like a gluten intolerance, it's a pesticide intolerance. So,
yeah.
you have to be really mindful of that and curious. So this is where, again, we're circling back to living a vital life full of vitality, because then, if you need to have these IV infusions to help you get back to that homeostasis, once you get there, your body knows what to do. Sometimes you need to keep searching further what's underneath. And I get why it wouldn't be a money making thing for you, because you're boosting people back to health. And then the idea is they don't come back, right?
Right, right, exactly, exactly, which is perfect. It's fine by me, my I never went into, doing this, with the idea of making money at all. I didn't care. Yeah, I still don't care. Well, I wanna keep the doors open, but,
You want to break even and maybe feed your family.
right, something like that, but but, it's just people deserve access to it. That's just the plain simple. When we need help, we shouldn't have to seek pharmaceuticals. We shouldn't have to go to an emergency room. We shouldn't have to go to urgent care. We should be able to have the tools available, readily available to heal ourselves. And that's what having the lounge is all about. So it could think of better names now. I don't know why I decided to call it Ivy Lounge, but people
You sit
mistake
on
it
a
with a
lounge?
bar, but it is a drip bar, I guess. So
This image of like when you said that, of like someone walking in and they just kind of recline on the chair and just, just relax and accept
yeah,
it. And, because again, it's like, the higher you have of your intention, again, your mindset going in, and be like, wow, yeah, this is like what I needed, and I'm going to feel so much energy afterwards. Those people are going to have much different outcomes, right? Than people are like,
yes,
oh, is this even going to work? You
right,
know, I might feel a little bit better, but it's going to
yeah.
be, yeah. So I just had this image of them coming in. Like for me, a lounge is like a nice couch, but obviously
Well, we have a
it's,
lot of recliners, so
see,
they do exactly what you said. They
they're
come
great.
in, they lay down, they get, a heated neck wrap, a blanket,
Oh,
and they drift off. The magnesium kind of takes effect, and they're very relaxed. So it is a lounge. The idea was I'd have all these different lounges, different rooms for tailoring to each client's need, because I remember times when I just wanted to be alone. I didn't want to be
mm,
in the general lounge area. I wanted to drip alone and just allow the nutrients to do their thing. You can't really do that if you're, cheersing with people next door and things like that. But anyways, yeah. So that's back to the lounge part. But that's exactly what people do. They come in, they kick back, they relax. It's a beautiful thing.
it does sound like a beautiful thing. I wish I lived closer.
I know,
Not
it
a plane.
too. You would love it.
Not a plane right away. Also, because I want your chair, but
Yeah, you can come steal my chair too.
and you can have my ball. Anyway,
Perfect.
done.
Done. Swap.
Everyone's probably like, what are they talking about? So just to give listeners a bit of background here, I was complimenting Carey that her chair matches my branding perfectly. And then she was like, oh yeah, and I said, but I sit on a ball. So that if anyone ever wonders why I'm doing that, that's why. And then when we're talking about trying to find this perfect ball for her to sit on, like while she's working, because it's so good for your core. But that's a whole other podcast episode. We could talk about the joy of chairs. I'm going to go find
Right.
myself a chair expert now, or a core expert. Anyway, I'll cycle back. Cycle back. Anyway, this is coming back to finish up because because otherwise we'll just go talk about
We're just
chairs.
gonna lose it after the whole
Exactly.
chair thing. There'll be an episode on chairs.
Exactly. You know what? We've put that out there. I'm going to find an ergonomic person to come on here now to talk about things.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so as we start to finish our time together, Carey, I asked the guests that come on the show, if you could heal or change something in the world, what would it be?
Heal or change our medical system. Honestly, I would create opportunities for people who can't afford real health care, real health alternatives. Uh, I would I would love to see everybody be able to afford an IV and afford whatever alternative therapy they want. I want to see things flipped. Make our system about alternative health and empowering people, not about padding the
Dependency.
pockets of millionaires and that kind of thing. That's what I would change.
Yeah. Beautiful. I know many people I can connect you with on the same mission. So, yeah. And
Awesome.
and if people want to find your book or they want to connect with you or come to your IV lounge, how can they find you?
Yeah, they can go to our website, www.ivldrip.com. They can also email me at carey@liveoptimalnow.com. And that's live without the E at the end of it, LIV. And I love to talk to people. So if anybody is even looking to start their own lounge, I would love to see more of these type of services available everywhere. I'm just one person. I've got one place and I'm good with that, but I'd love to help other people start theirs. So, so you can definitely reach out to me. I would love to hear from you.
Beautiful. And I'll make sure to put all those details in the show notes. And where can they get your book as well?
You can go to Amazon.com.
Beautiful.
It is a hardback, paperback, audio, or not audio yet. Audio is coming out. But yeah, Amazon.com.
Beautiful. And again, I'll make sure to put everything in the show notes so people can find you, can find your IV lounge. And if they're curious about starting their own, they can connect in with you too. So a big thank you for being on the show, Carey, and for sharing your journey and for an alternative way that we can think about recharging our body and getting some vitality back in our life.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.